And good morning to you, meteorologist Joey Sovine here at the Live 5 Alert Desk with an update on the very latest on Hurricane Erin and how it will impact us here in the Lowcountry over the next couple of days. Let's hop into the main impacts, and that's going to be purely out in the ocean. We do have a high surf advisory that is in effect today all the way through Thursday, as we are looking at waves now starting to arrive, really starting to pick up this morning, and they'll be approaching 5-6 feet in some spots by this afternoon. So plain and simple, no swimming over the next couple of days. Stay out of the water. Very dangerous. Rip currents are a possibility as this storm system passes by out over the ocean. We'll talk more about that in a second, but let's get up to speed with the very latest on Hurricane Erin this morning. And one thing to note on the satellite imagery, and I'll draw in here, is that the center of circulation is on the northern side of a big ball of red. And what that shows us is that all the really intense convection, the thunderstorm and heavy rain activity and the rain bands are on the southern side of this at this point in time. What has occurred over the last 12 hours or so is that we have some northerly wind shear. So we have some winds coming in from the north, and that displaces all those storms south of the center. Plus, we have dry air that's intruded into the almost all the way into the core of this system, but really eating away the moisture available on the northern side of this. So a couple things that are certainly working in our favor as far as bringing down the intensity. But with that wind out of the north, it continues to bring some of these outer heavy rain bands into the Turks and Caicos from Grand Turk over to Providenciales right there in the Turks and the Caicos, and then up into the southeastern Bahamas under a tropical storm warning, but they will feel the fringe effects from this. The worst of the weather, thankfully, staying out over the ocean. Now, as we take a look at the very latest on Hurricane Erin, this is a Category 3, or Category 2 hurricane, rather, downgraded from a Category 3 just a very short time ago. Movement is to the north and west at 7 miles per hour. So this is a slow mover. Usually these storms have a tendency for when they begin a turn to slow down as they turn. And we're seeing that as it starts to feel the influence of a trough that's digging into the mid-Atlantic. And that's what's going to curve. That opens up a window or a path essentially for this storm to turn north after moving to the west and northwest for the past 5-6 days now. Now, we'll take this latest forecast track out over the next couple of days, and you can see how that forecast turns this storm to the north eventually, and then to the northeast, curving this out over the open ocean. As far as the latest forecast track, if this storm is to ride on the western side, as it has had a tendency to do so over the past couple of days. It's always been on that western side of that forecast track historically. If that occurs, it still passes 300 miles off our coast. That forecast cone stretches from 300 miles to about 450 miles. So the margin of error there is about 150 miles out a couple of days. And as this passes by, regardless of how close it gets, whether it's 450 miles or 300 miles offshore, thankfully, we have a large margin to work with where we still will not see any significant impacts from this outside of what you see the ocean looking like and the danger which lies below, which is the rip currents and that really high surf. So as long as we stay out of the water, we're going to be just fine as this storm passes by. But we do want to reiterate, there's a high risk of rip currents today, tomorrow, and Thursday. And you can see those wave heights picking up from 4 to 6 today to 6 to 8 tomorrow, 5 to 7 on Thursday as they begin to come down. And then we will maintain at least a moderate risk, but stay updated if you do have hopes to hit the beaches later this week or into the weekend. We have a moderate risk, but that could be upgraded to a high for Friday. We're hoping it comes down pretty quickly on the backside, but usually there's some residual swell. It just takes the ocean a while to calm down after it gets stirred up like it will as Erin passes by to our east. Now, we do have a couple other tropical waves. We're just going to touch on these very shortly. I wouldn't be worried about these right now. We do have one coming off the coast of Africa. That one's pretty healthy right now. Most models don't do a whole lot with it, so it's given a 30% chance of odds in the face of the models, which really don't do much with it. It does look like an overachiever at this point. And then the leading one in orange here, that's about halfway between Africa and the Caribbean. And this orange shaded area out ahead of it, that indicates where there could be development over the upcoming days, mainly later this week or toward the weekend. Right now, looks like this could follow in the path of Erin, which wouldn't necessarily be bad news because that is a path with the water being cooled due to upwelling. Essentially, that storm has used a lot of the really warm water, and now in the wake of that storm, there's some cooler water, at least relative to what it was before. So there's a little less energy to work with if that follows in the footpath of Erin, which did take it north of the Caribbean. Some models develop this, many do not. Most that do turn it up to the north and out to sea. There are some that keep it weak and move it a little bit farther west. So we'll keep you updated on that. Once again, don't be worried about that right now. Let's just get past Erin, which is forecast, as you can see here on Future Tracker, to pass well off our coastline as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. Here is tomorrow night, and our in-house computer model showing this passing about 350 miles off of our coast. You can see the outermost rain bands really tucked in much closer to it. There will be a few high clouds and could see a little bit of rain just because of the heating of the day, but not expecting anything directly from Erin. And then this moves up to the north. We'll be watching it for the Outer Banks, just such a flood-prone area from coastal flooding in these storms. Anytime you pile up extra water out in the Outer Banks, the erosion issues are just so significant there, and the ability for the water to overwash some of the islands and some of the roads. That's why they have gone ahead with some evacuations in that area. There are tropical storm watches, storm surge watches that are up for parts of the Outer Banks, as this looks like it's going to pass, at least with the worst of the weather, to the east of the Outer Banks, but it will be a much closer call for the folks there. For us on the backside of this, next couple of days looks fairly dry as this passes offshore. That's the latest from right here at the Live 5 Alert Desk. The latest on the tropics is always available on our Live 5 First Alert weather app, or go to live5news.com and click on the weather tab. You can always search for the latest forecast and an updated article there as well. But we'll keep you updated from here at the Alert Desk as we continue to watch Hurricane Erin. Once again, stay out of the water over the next couple of days, as we do have the potential of some dangerous rip currents and some high surf out in the ocean. Stay safe.